Hey guys, it's Todd from Like Minded Lunatics, bringing you, it's another drink, play, swear. Hey, it's all we do around here, besides standing backstage nibbling all of our fingers off at the nubbins. Is nubbins a word? It's all we've ever really cared to do around here. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear, and welcome back to Like Minded Lunatics. No, Like Minded Lunatics is not just Drink, Play, Swear. It's also my buddy Mark Gifford, co-creator of LML, doing the Friday night videos. Bang, please hit that. Check out that playlist so you can see just the best stuff on the channel. And bang, 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 bang. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button so we can see how big this family of like-minded weirdos, degenerates, runaways, ne'er-do-wells, and ding-dongs is getting. And it gets bigger every day, thanks to you getting bigger every day. All right, what do we do here at Drink, Play, Swear? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. We play a game, usually a classic one. I pair it with a beverage. No, there's a third part. I also tell you a story. That's right, I tell you a story. So welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. What are we playing here today? This is Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And we are pairing it with a very familiar beverage, just like this game is probably familiar to some of you. This is a Jim Beam and Coke. Get yourself something. I'm sorry. It's like I lower the bar every week. Look at that, Mega Man X, Capcom. It's a nice screen, isn't it? Nice opening screen. Mega Man X is a cool game, and there are a bunch of sequels to this. On the NES, there were 6 Mega Man games, and they're pretty well loved, although, of course, some of them more loved than others. Most gamers will argue that parts 2 and 3 are the best, and that has something to do with added features, you know, like the slide and the whatever the robot dog's name is, right? Don't kill me in the comments. I don't know everything, right? Then there were a couple on the Super Nintendo that were not received as well, the kind of forgettable ones. I'm looking at you, Mega Man 7, but this was sort of like a change in style. Mega Man X, it's like a different character. That is, the hero is not the same character from the originals, and you got a different bad guy. But it's the same style you know and love. Play a bunch of bosses, that leads to a castle or a last boss area, and just a ton of fun. And this game adds a really cool shot where you hold it down, see? Makes a really satisfying noise, and then you smoke the dude, don't you? That's fun. All right, let's get into the story today, because there's plenty to talk about. I've been reflecting a lot on performance and on the stage, getting on stage, because there are a lot of like-minded lunatics, that is, producers of this channel, who do that quite often. You know, I have been getting on stage and performing for quite some time, and was a producer of a live storytelling series here in San Antonio for 4 years. Mark is currently a producer of a live storytelling series, Testify, in Austin, Texas, and excuse me, has spoken there as well. Look at the climbing you can do. And then, like my lunatic Lottie, also a producer at Testify, and also, from what I've seen in the video footage from Testify's website, please check it out, great storyteller as well. Hell of a group of people who love getting on stage and sharing stuff that we hope people care about. Who's Sharon? So, I want to talk a little bit about my history of confidence when it comes to getting on the stage, and that is my history of no confidence. And I'm going to say it starts with a story from when I was 4 years old at a family restaurant, okay? I was a terribly shy little kid. I was. And it led my parents to think that I was an introvert and that I was going to have a hard time socially. But I'm going to say that most of it probably has something to do with, get off of me, these purple monstrosities. I'm going to say a lot of it has to do with the fact that I was mostly just at home with my parents. You know, they didn't have many friends. There weren't a lot of people around. Yeah, we had family come over, but it's a few times a year, you know. So I was kind of that weird, quiet, secret kid for a number of years, I think. I think that could have been the perception. No one was ever mean enough to say that about me, but I think that was kind of the perception. And so socially, I had kind of a hard time. So hard a time, in fact. How hard a time was it, Todd? So hard a time, in fact, that I had a hard time even talking to like a waitress when she would come by to get your drink order, right? So I'm 4 years old, and my parents brave going out into a restaurant because my dad really wants to get some fried shrimp at one of these local Texas places. I think it was Sea Island in San Antonio, classic regional chain of, if you love fried seafood, just the place you want to go, right? So we go, and the strategy from my parents' side is just to anticipate the waitress to order for me, because if the waitress comes right up to me and asks me a question, I'm not going to be able to answer, right? It's hard to access exactly why, because I don't feel this way anymore in life. But inevitably, the waitress comes to me first because I'm the youngest at the table. Cute waitress, eye contact, batting the eyes, big smile. What can I get you, sir? I'm 4. She's calling me sir. She's being sweet. I start crying. I bawl out, going completely haywire. My parents know it's over. The experience is done. My dad closes his eyes as he simultaneously closes his menu. He can smell the hush puppies, right? He's not getting any. He says, no, you didn't do anything. He's just sensitive. We get in the car and we go home. And it takes me the rest of the trip home to quit crying. All the way through my McDonald's drive-through chicken nuggets, right? Ugh. And my dad hated McDonald's too. Very disappointed, but he never made me feel bad. You know what I mean? I'm sure he was privately very upset that his son can't get his shit together when it comes to ordering a Shirley Temple from a waitress. But I couldn't at the time. So cut to a year later when I'm 5. There's going to be this school play, right? And every kid has to participate in the school play. And it's an animal theme, and I'm selected to be the little red snake, okay? You know, homemade costume and everything. And I got to wear this thing. I got to slither out while all the kids sing, and then I got to give my 2 lines, like as an introduction to who I am or what I'm all about. I can't even remember what they were. And then I slither on back, and it's an ensemble, so all these animals have their opportunity to come out, right? My dad, even though it's only 2 lines, my dad is like, there is no way he is going out there and performing. And my dad didn't come to anything. You know what I mean? Like, he never came to anything. I like to joke, my dad didn't even know where my school was. Do you know what I mean? Mom's doing the school stuff. And to be, you know, fair, he worked a lot. But there were lots of times when he just decided not to go. He went to the school play where I was the little red snake to see if it was really going to happen, and I did it. I don't really have a memory of it, but I know I did it because there are pictures and family stories. But anyway, I did my little red snake thing, and they all sang Little Red Snake, and I came out and kind of slithered with my homemade costume and my fake, like, felt tongue that maybe I was just holding in my mouth. I don't know. And I said my 2 lines, and my dad was floored. And we went home, and he was beaming. He was so proud of me, he couldn't believe I actually did it. You know, it's not like a single moment with conquering this stuff, because I'm not going to say that, oh, that was it. I was a man for the stage. No, you know what I mean? But I did have a charge that happened inside of me when I was able to do it. And I used to love to listen to cassette tapes of Steve Martin. And I had this one show, Wild and Crazy Guy, Steve Martin. And I would sit with my headphones and listen to it. And I would go into my closet in my room, because there's no windows in the closet, you know, pitch black. And I would imagine that I was in the theater for Steve Martin's performance. And you couldn't see him, you know. I didn't have any video footage of this. I hadn't seen it. There is footage, but I didn't have any footage. I just had the front, the case, the cassette tape case, and it's Steve Martin in a white suit with these bunny ears. This grown-ass man with white hair who didn't feel bad making a fool of himself on stage in front of people. Gotta say, he was one of my top 5 heroes. Real people, that is. I got all kinds of fictional heroes, right? But I would sit in that closet, and when my eyes would adjust to the dark, I would close my eyes, and I would imagine I was in that audience. And sometimes, if I was even brave enough to imagine it, I would turn the tables and imagine that I was Steve Martin up on stage. And I would get a charge thinking about it. And it gave me a desire, more and more, to be up in front of people. When you get a laugh on stage, or you get some kind of big clap, or some kind of encouraging look from a group, it feels fantastic. It really does. And if you're already wanting that validation anyway, it just fills you up, you know? Years later, I would go on to get a master's degree in English and begin teaching as a professor. And my father did come to one of the first classes I taught after I was done being a TA and teaching part-time in my alma mater at Texas Lutheran University. Go Bulldogs. And I was teaching the game. I'm sorry. I got into my story. I'm not sorry. I was teaching this course in the basement of the library, and my dad decided to come check it out because he was amazed that his son was a professor whose job it was to get up in front of people and talk. And he sat there through the class, and it was very comfortable for him because it's the library, so he didn't have to be like in a classroom and like he's the old guy. You know, he could kind of be off to the side and watch and pretend to be reading a book or whatever. Class ends. And it was a good class. It went well, right? Few laughs. I always plan for 2 or 3 laughs. And if that fails, I always plan a couple extras because I'm going to get 2 or 3 laughs even if they're little, right? And Dad comes over at the end of class as I'm sort of packing up. And I said, how'd it go, Dad? And he reminded me of the story of me crying when the waitress tried to speak to me. And I said, yeah, of course, I don't remember it clearly, but yes, I remember all the stories. And he says, you know, we didn't know if you were ever going to get over that and be like comfortable, like talking in front of people. And my dad was a man of few words, but his words had weight, you know, as a result. And that day, I was 26 years old or so, maybe younger even, teaching one of my first classes out of grad school. He said, I was a little worried about you back then in terms of figuring out how to do something like this. And I said, well, okay, well, me too. And he said, he looked me right in the eye, and that was his style, right? He said, I think you licked it, son. And that's one of those things I carry with me, just like I told in a previous story about him telling me I was a good father, right? Handful of things I carry around that he said, handful of things that my mom said that I carry around just for validation. And when I think about getting on stage now, I still run that through the back of my mind. My dad's not around, but I hear his voice right before I go on. I think you licked it, son. Feels good. Well, thanks for being with us. If you are somebody who enjoys performing or who wants to perform and hasn't done so already, I hope this was a little helpful. And you know me, I talked so much. I didn't play much game and I didn't drink much drink. This was a lot of swearing today. And between now and the next time I talk to you, I'm Todd.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. So I'm sitting here editing, listening to Todd tell his story about having a Steve Martin album. Sitting there thinking, wow, that sure does sound familiar. You know, the Steve Martin album where he's got the bunny ears on it. And then I think, where have I seen that before? Boy, oh boy, I sure do wish I could remember where I've seen that before. And then I remember, it's hung right there. There's what the inside of it looks like. That's the inside cover of the album. We didn't call it Like Minded Lunatics for nothing, folks.
See ya.